I recently co-taught a course on analytical drawing at the National Institute of Design, and some of my students came to me asking for recommendations on digital drawing tools. 10 years ago in 2012, when I was a design student, if you asked your senior which digital drawing tablet you should get, the answer was always the same. If you're on a tight budget, get a Wacom Bamboo. And if your parents can afford, because you clearly can't, just get a Wacom Intuos. Basically, just get a Wacom. I got the Intuos 5 back then, a tablet that is still being used by one of my juniors. After 10 years. Fast forward to 2022, I now teach at various design institutes, and the students still ask the same question: which pen tablet should we get? But the answer is no longer just get a Wacom. Hi everyone, my name is Deepesh. I'm a product designer and a design educator, and this is my first YouTube video. Back in 2012, there was nothing even remotely close to what Wacom was offering, so it made sense that you simply went with a Wacom for your digital editing and drawing needs. But in 2022, the market seems to have matured, and there are not only more options, but some that offer significantly more value at a fraction of the cost of a Wacom. This seems like one such option in the pen tablet category, rivaling the likes of Intuos Pro models of Wacom. But before I could recommend it to my students, I decided to compare it with this Intuos. I chose the Veikk 1060 Pro for its clean, minimalistic design and that physical dial. We'll get to it in a minute, but first let's check out what all does the box include. First up, there's an artist's glove. Then there's the tablet itself. Let's put that aside for a bit. This looks like a matte surface protector. This is just a flat card sheet partitioner. A nice carry pouch for the tablet, in this case, is the pen itself. This is a pen holder with enough storage to hold 8 extra nibs, a USB Type-C cable, 20 more nib replacements, some stickers, a micro USB and a USB-C OTG adapter, a microfiber cleaning cloth, and finally some paperwork. Basically, the 1060 Pro comes with all the accessories you ever need without having to pay separately for them. Let's look at the tablet itself now. The tablet comes with a seamless matte surface with an active area of 10 by 6 inches, 2 physical radial dials and 6 clicky express shortcut keys. Physically, the tablet is a lot smaller than the Intuos 4 I've got here for testing, but it's almost identical in size to the current gen Intuos Pro Medium, while still incorporating a slightly larger active area. The buttons on the Intuos 4 and even my Intuos 5 were soft touch, but Wacom seems to have since moved to clicky buttons for its Intuos Pro series, just like this Veikk tablet. But the differentiating factor here is this physical radial dial I spoke of earlier. Wacom, on the other hand, has been using a capacitive touchring to keep everything nice and flush with the surface. When I first started using the Intuos 10 years ago, it took me a while to get used to the drawing surface. So I used to put an actual sheet of paper on top of it to simulate a pen on paper feeling. With the Veikk tablet, the included matte surface protector does exactly the same job. As for pen performance, this is what the Intuos 4 strokes look like. And this is what the strokes on the 1060 Pro look like. The Veikk tablet clearly has a wider sensitivity range, but for a tablet that was launched 14 years ago in 2008, the Intuos is still mighty impressive. I read a lot about how the nib retractions on the Wacom was different from the springy retraction of other alternatives, but honestly, I couldn't tell the difference between the nibs of the Intuos pen and the Veikk pen. I imagine the pen performance to be comparable, if not better, to the current gen Wacom Pro pen. Most of this is happening using the default settings on the Veikk driver app. Speaking of which, just like you would for a Wacom tablet, you must download and install the Veikk tablet app from their website before you start using the tablet. The driver app also functions similar to that of the Wacom, in that it allows you to assign and modify functions of the pen as well as the tablet and its buttons and dials. You can do so at a global level as well as at an individual app level. And don't worry, in case you are a left-handed user, the app allows you to set up your tablet for that as well. Most of the default functions are well thought out, and if you are a first-time user of a pen tablet, you will be able to just plug and play. With the settings sorted, let's come back to the pen performance. Here's a slow, diagonal line drawn using a straight edge on the Intuos phone. And here's a similar line drawn using the 1060 Pro. The strokes are almost jitter-free. But there is one area where both these tablets falter. Since the active areas of these tablets have an aspect ratio that is quite different from the screens on which they are being mapped, what you draw on the tablet may not always be what shows up on the screen. For example, here I am trying to place a circle guide on the Intuos 4 and now on the 1060 Pro. Both look like stretched out oblongs and not really circles. Thankfully, this can be fixed by setting the aspect ratio of the active area to match that of the screen using the driver app. In the interest of time, I am going to fast forward this segment, but feel free to slow down or pause the video in case you want to study the process. This fix should ideally work for all pen tablets and not just Wacom or Veikk. And it works. While this tablet offers exceptional value at its price, not all is honky-dory with this tablet. Let's not forget that throughout this video, I've been comparing the 1060 Pro with a device that was launched 14 years ago in 2008. Veikk didn't even exist back then. And in all these years, I have no doubt that Wacom would have taken the opportunity to master its digital drawing tools even further. Remember the size comparison we did before with the current gen Intuos Pro? While the two tablets are similarly sized, they both have slightly different approach in their design. The Veikk VK1060 Pro goes for a more symmetrical design with equal bezels around the drawing area, while the Wacom chooses to move the drawing area closer to the buttons. This means you have ample resting surface left for your drawing hand even when you try to reach out the outermost edge of the drawing area. This is something that I did not notice during my decade-plus long use of the Wacom, but immediately appreciated when my drawing hand felt squeezed while trying to choose layers and other tools located on the right edge of my screen. And yes, the fix for the circle also fixed this issue for me when I reduced the size of the active area to match the aspect ratios of the tablet and the screen. But that's not the point here. Good design is often invisible, and that is what Wacom has just demonstrated. Wacom also continues to support these old devices with regular driver updates even today. On their website, Veikk commits to a similar lifetime technical support to all their devices. But this is something we'll be able to see and comment on only in the future. In conclusion, Wacom might still be the industry benchmark when it comes to digital drawing tools. But like I mentioned in my thumbnail, it's still astonishing that you can get almost 80% of that experience in less than 20% of the price. And that's a win for all. This means I can no longer blindly ask my students or fellow creatives to just get a Wacom. They can now wake up and smell cheaper roses. And on that terrible pun, I'm gonna leave you guys with some quick sketches and a render I did using the Veikk VK1060 Pro. If you found this video helpful, please do hit that like button, and if you know someone who could benefit from this video, please do share it with them. Thank you.